Hi, my name is Lamine, and welcome to my channel, Lamine the Ad Guy, where we talk about advertising and marketing and everything in between. Today, we're going to talk about the billionaire, the most richest man in the world. The most richest man in the world? Can I just say the richest man in the world? Can I say that? I'll just say that. The richest man in the world, Elon Musk, and his recent buy, which is in which is Twitter. Let's talk about it. All right. So, Elon Musk bought Twitter, the social media platform. Have you heard of it? It's where people go and, they have like a certain amount of characters to express themselves in some type of capacity. You can also, upload videos and images and GIFs and all that good content. And you're able to retweet and, I guess, like tweets. Well, Elon Musk has been on there for a long time. I maybe since like 2000 and something, and he loved it so much and probably thought it was great. So he decided to buy it or acquire it, one or the other. Who knows? Anyway, it's in the news. It's funny because I do see like when you have billions of dollars, right? Billions of dollars. I see a lot of these billionaires buying football teams and soccer teams and baseball teams. And then you have people like Elon Musk's of the world and Jeff Bezos in the world that like buy public media outlets like the Washington Post or Twitter. Um, Zuckerberg already owned Facebook, but I think Facebook acquired Instagram. So does Zuckerberg own Instagram as well, or is that just like a different entity? Facebook Meta. Anyway, I bring this up because Twitter is a social media platform that has ads running on that platform. And as we know, Elon Musk isn't the biggest fan of advertising marketing. From what I've heard and what I've seen in the past, he doesn't really use advertising for his Tesla brand. He doesn't use any type of advertising. I think he believes of the word of mouth or PR or, grassroots marketing. And, it's worked well for him and his brand. He's actually a master marketer himself. I think he went to University of Pennsylvania, Wharton School. What did he study? No, maybe I'm tripping. Let me double check real quick. I don't like to not fact check sometimes. So Elon Musk's grad school. I know he was like super smart and he liked tech stuff. Where did he go to school at? All right, so I know. So he did get. He went to University of Pennsylvania. I knew I wasn't tripping. And he had a BA. I thought he had a master's. You're telling me Elon Musk is just like that dude that doesn't really need a master's? He's just like, who needs a master's? Well, Zuckerberg doesn't have a master's either. Well, it says Education University of Pennsylvania, BS and BA. So I think you got both Bachelor of Science and Bachelor of Arts. Yeah, a guy that's scientifically art, a scientifically artist. No, an artistic. I don't know. I was trying to like mix those two words together. I just know that Elon has, the tendency to like invest in areas that he feels are valuable to him, and he's making his way into the media world, and I know a lot of billionaires really appreciate um, media outlets. especially if they want to express themselves. And I know Elon Musk has a big following on Twitter. So I came across an article on the Wall Street Journal, which is, for those people that are into marketing and all that stuff. And it kind of talks about, of course, his new recent purchase of Twitter, but it also talks about what this means for advertising on that platform and how it's going to run now that he's technically in charge. I know he's really big on not advertising, especially for some of his platforms, but I mean some of his other business ventures. So it's let me read the article, right? I'm gonna read the article and then I'm gonna try to give some feedback of what I think might be cool. Elon Musk's backing means Twitter needs ads to stay aloft. Why didn't you say afloat? Why did you say aloft? What does aloft even mean? Like to stay upward? Like like loft wise? I guess. Musk will need the cash flow from Twitter's advertising business to pay off debts used to back deals. Oh, so he's gonna need advertising like a lot of people do, especially media. All right, I'm gonna read this article. I'm gonna read it out to y'all so you have an idea of what this is. It's a short article, so it's not gonna be too much information. And mind you, I got this information from the Wall Street Journal. All right. Wall Street has long known that it is better to play with other people's money, but in the case of Elon Musk, other people's money may limit just how much playing he can do with Twitter. The campaign by the world's richest person on paper to take over the social network has proven to be a success. Twitter announced Monday afternoon that a deal has been reached at the price of $54.20 per share in cash. That was Mr. Musk's initial offer from April 14th. Twitter's board was reportedly compelled to give the bid a fresh look after Mr. Musk filed papers late last week, reporting $46.5 billion dollars in financial backing for the bid. So, I'm going to pause right there. Okay, so did Elon Musk make a deal in like 2 weeks? So he put his initial offer in April 14th. Okay, this came out on April 25th. So it's like a week and some change. I mean, $46.5 billion. Would you all hesitate? I know it would take some time. It reminds me of, when someone gets an offer from like a job and then you have like a week to accept or decline. You know, maybe this has been in the works for a while and it was kind of at the end stage of the deal. I'm not sure if Elon Musk, Mr. Musk, if that's what he wants to be called, um, decided to do this on a whim. Maybe he's been thinking about doing this for a while now and everything just worked well. Okay, so I'm going to read more. Still unclear is what ultimately would become of Twitter under Mr. Musk's ownership. The accepted bid puts a $5 billion a year advertising business into the hands of someone who has publicly questioned Twitter's advertising business model and whose current company, Tesla, buys no advertising. The self-described free speech absolutist has also spoken out against Twitter's content moderation practices, which are designed to keep toxic content off the social network and make it safer for advertisers. Brian Weiser, global president of business intelligence at ad buying giant GroupM, says most advertisers who work with Twitter strongly prefer content standards on the service. That may not matter a great deal to Mr. Musk, who said of his own Twitter campaign that it is not a way to make money, in an onstage interview at the TED conference on the same day of the filing describing his financial support, but more than half of that backing comes in the form of debt from Morgan Stanley and certain other financial institutions. According to the filing, that means Mr. Musk will need to preserve Twitter's cash flow and ideally grow it to service the debt. Some of that debt is in the form of margin loans backed by Mr. Musk. Oh, advertising, advertising. All right, I'm gonna read the last bit of this, and then I'm gonna give you some of my, thoughts. All right. Doing that without advertising would be difficult. Ads account for nearly 90% of Twitter's revenue now, while data licensing provides most of the rest. The company launched Twitter Blue, its first consumer subscription offering last year, rolling it out to the US market in November. Chief Executive Parag Agarwal said on Twitter's last earning call in February that the company has seen a strong response from our most heavy users for the service, but he added that Blue is not critical to reaching $7.5 billion of revenue in 2023, a target set at an analyst meeting in early 2021. Musk will likely have his own goals in mind, and privately held Twitter would be accountable only to him for reaching them. But since Mr. Musk has elected not to pay for Twitter entirely out of his own pocket, he will have to be accountable to others as well. And we know how that's been going at Tesla. That's it. That's the article. That's the tidbit of the article. And as a person who works in marketing and advertising, it's definitely an interesting move, and I'm not 100% sure how I feel about it. I feel like knowing that Elon Musk is in charge of Twitter or has taken ownership of the platform, he can do whatever he wants. And he can capitalize on the content on there in any capacity. And Twitter has always been like a free social media platform, but they do have a new feature where they're subscription based, which I don't know what that would be. Like, would that be like news that you want exclusively or content that you want exclusively? Maybe. Who knows? I know for one thing, as I read aloud, 90% of its revenue comes from advertising, and it's bringing in like billions of dollars every year, $7 billion to be exact. And apparently, Elon Musk isn't really happy with that advertising or marketing model. So it's going to be interesting to see how he utilizes the foundation of advertising on that platform. And I've always had mixed feelings, because I do feel as though that when it comes to advertising, that is my bread and butter, and for him to not utilize it or think it's important is kind of like a hard pill to swallow, because I do feel as though that he understands marketing, all aspects of marketing, but he does seem to focus on PR. And I don't know how long that's going to sustain, especially to grow Twitter to a point where there are more users on there, and it continues to grow. We have to remember that Twitter is a ad platform or a content or a social media platform, and not all social media platforms live for a long time. There's a lot of platforms that had a decent shelf life, but it lost followings. And with so many uprising social media platforms like TikTok and, um, for example, to a TikTok, and it's becoming apparent that competition within like the social media platform spectrum is is growing, and only the strongest will survive. And um, advertising is really the name of the game when it comes to revenue. Content is one thing, popularity is one thing, how many retweets you get is one thing, and that's great, but not being able to, get revenue from that platform is going to be, I don't know how that's going to work. Seriously, I do have Twitter, but I don't use it to the capacity of other people. I know some people are heavy users. I consider myself a light user, meaning I have an account, and from time to time, rarely I would post something. But I will say that I like getting information from Twitter. It's definitely a great way to get quick buzz on specific topics in pop culture, as well as what's going on in the news. So I do see Twitter as valuable, and I do know that a lot of people my age and even older people seem to love how you're able to communicate and express yourself in a timely manner, and people can have a voice for their own self. And it's showing the growth from newspapers and press to how to utilize social media, and for your voice to be retweeted as communication, and that is the press. So it's like this digital world, and I understand the value of that. Now, how I'm very excited to see how he's going to utilize the ad format for Twitter, and how it's going to be maybe one of those platforms that kind of evolves. And I can tell you now, a lot of my clients don't use Twitter as one of their verticals in in social, but I can tell you that it's still an area where people hang out for a long period of time. People have like over 100,000 tweets, and you're like, what? How did that happen? So it's very mixed feelings here. The guy is super rich. He's, it seems like he bought Twitter on debt. So he bought Twitter with the bank, and he got it. And so now he kind of has to find a way to keep it afloat, and if it's not advertising, what's it going to be? How the heck is he going to do that? Because I truly believe he's going to continue to use advertising. And if I'm wrong, I'll say I'm wrong, but he better, like, what else is he going to do? Just, I don't know how that's going to work. Maybe he's going to make it like a marketplace, like Amazon. I don't know. I don't even think that's going to work. I mean, I'm just throwing out ideas. Maybe I just gave the $1 billion idea right there. Put me a, but there is going to be a shift, and it's going to be interesting to see how the platform changes moving forward. I know it's not going to happen overnight. It's probably going to take a few years for an idea to be a potential win, but it's hard, especially when there's so many other platforms out there. How do you retain usership? How do you retain engagement? And how do you continue to make money off that platform so you can grow? Unless it's like a Wikipedia and you tell people to donate, which, Wikipedia does that. But here are some ideas. How do you all think about the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Elon Musk buying out Twitter? Tweet, tweet. Does that change how you feel of him? Do you think he is doing this for the people because he loves that platform? You know, he seems to be very evolved with electric cars and rocket ships, and here he is buying a platform, and he believes about like, you know, not censoring people on the platform. So it's gonna be cool to see where it goes. When it regarding advertising, I'm on the side of advertising. Always on the side of advertising. So if he's against it, well, he can suck it. And if he's not against it, then he's okay. You know, what am I supposed to say? Anyway, thank you all for stopping by, helping me go through this news, and let's see what happens. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Do that. Come on. Give me some love.